Oh,
Digging for gold. Busted.
more like fool's gold.
Fool's gold. It's all the kind of gold you'll find up here in the Black Tower. Many a men have made their way to the Black Tower, seeking their fortune. All they find is blood and madness. I don't
On a
know
recruiting
why
poster.
anyone would seek their fortunes at the Black Tower. But if you're here now, well, I guess we'll just have to play with you real gentle like.
That was good.
Thank you. Thank you. That was my audition, Rafe.
I really wish I had a Miller High Life so that way I could be like, yeah, fool's gold. That should definitely be on the recruiting posters. Earn your gold. Earn your gold at the Black Tower. Just a little asterisk at the bottom. Gold may be paid in fool's gold.
Gold.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody,
Hello.
to another episode of the Black Tower Podcast. This week's dose of taint, hot and steamy, direct from the source. For all of those of you who are tuning in for your first time, I'm sorry. Also, I'm not sorry.
You're welcome.
Also, you're welcome. Also, my name is Josh. It says right here, we flipped it. I'm Josh. This is the Zorro Van Mejel. That's me. That's me. You'll know me by my distinctive look.
You know that's a Josh because of the way it is. And I'm Andrew. I'm your boy, John Mahel. It says so right there. Oh, I pointed to the right side first time.
Good job.
Look at that. Hey, it's almost like I've done this before. And I get it wrong every time. But yes, we are excited to bring you another episode of Tainty Goodness. We're hot on the heels of having a fantastic guest last week. We had to be in Tavern on last week, and we talked all about the Hounds of Darkness, the Shadows Doggos, that look like friend-shaped but are not friend. The baddest of the goodest shaped boys.
Yeah.
But also the biggest, baddest, good-looking boys.
Big bad boys.
We'll be sticking with a somewhat similar motif. We'll be sticking on the same side of the moral spectrum of the Wheel of Time for this week's episode. And to help us with that, we have another fantastically fabulous guest.
I am.
You may have seen him in his many times in the kitchen, whipping up authentic Mistress Alvear honey cakes, whipping up some celebratory Black Tower dragon things. You may have seen him being Malkier's sexiest chef and Malkier's third best swordsman behind Lan and someone else who I can't say because we haven't spoiler warned yet. I don't want to say the other one yet because that would be a spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to wait around and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, put your paws, your claws, and whatever else you have together for Rob from Malkier Talks.
Always the intellectual.
Oh, hey guys, how are you doing? Sorry, I was just doing some light reading and my origins.
Classic UK behavior. He's reading a book and having a tea.
And I am actually having a cup of tea. It's not actually coffee. You're not making that up. It is actually a cup of tea.
I would be more shocked if it was anything else.
Rob, I've got a question for you. I noticed that a while back you elected to do the undershave. How do you like that? Is that do you view that as a good decision? Are you appreciating your choice there?
I am. So I've always wanted to. I've always no, let me correct that. I've not always wanted to grow my hair. Sometimes I get lazy and don't get my hair cut. And then I notice because it gets long around the ears and fluffy and it just irritates me. And I'd been watching a lot of Vikings and my hair was long. I was like, I wonder if I just get, like the undercut, if that will get rid of the irritation but allow the rest of my hair to be long. And it did, and it made the difference. And then it got long enough for me to do a land cosplay. And I was like, this is amazing. And then I decided, because I've always had people rave about, I say people, ex-girlfriends, your hair's so nice, it's so thick, it's so lovely, I'm so jealous. I was like, do you know what? Now that I've actually found a way to grow it, maybe I'll grow it until it's long enough to donate. So that became my project. I don't actually like my own look with long hair, but I'm growing it for charity. So probably another couple years. It's long enough for that.
Okay.
I've kept it, and it really does make a difference. In fact, I didn't get it cut from, I think, WhatCon until like 3 months ago, 2 months ago, and it was really, really long and really, really irritating. So yeah, the undercut is a good thing.
Maybe I'll join you on that. Maybe one of these days we can, like,
I mean, your hair is so much longer than mine, so yeah, mine is only down to like my shoulder blades at the moment.
So thick and so nice.
Thank you, Wolf Brother.
Yeah, he's a hairy guy, so if he says it's thick and nice,
yeah. I'm sure it'll come to a shock as absolutely everybody to find out that Rob loves doing things for charitable reasons and helping people out.
What?
An absolute shock, I'm sure. You've never seen Rob do anything charitable, and
not in his
definitely
life.
not within the last 2 months. There definitely wasn't, a whole lot of holiday thing that Rob champions every year, like a boss.
Like a boss. Hey, give us a little bit of insight on that. Like how do you, like, just for people that, like I said, for people who are kind of like, I think I'm going to Google a Wheel of Time. And I know there's like 18 other content creators above us in that particular search. And we're not going with realism here. We're just going with hypothetical. But say that someone found this episode first and they're going, what the heck? Who, what? Why has he got all the charities? Like, talk about the What a Holiday for just a sec.
So What a Holiday was actually Andrew's idea. It was during lockdown. Twatcast had done the Whatcastathon, and Andrew's like, we should do this again. I was like, I would love to do this. This was back in the day when I signed up for everything before I learned the word restraint, which I needed to learn because otherwise I couldn't actually deliver what I'd signed up for. And I was like, I'll do it. I'll host it. Not host it, but I'll run the behind the scenes stuff. And yeah, it kind of progressed from there. And we just had our 5th year. And what we do every year is we get 24 different slots in a 24-hour period. We get it filled with different content creators. Sometimes it's entire shows, sometimes it's collaborations between different shows and different podcasts, or just people who make content in whatever format. And they play games, they raffle things off, they have discussions, all sorts of crazy things happen. And yeah, we just have 24 hours of chaos. And then Andrew, myself, and Cheyenne hang out for the half hour beforehand, half hour after, so that we get an actual 24 hours of content. So it's like 25 hours is what actually happens. And we donate the money to multiple charities. Initially, we did Lightweaver, which is Brandon Sanderson's charity. And then we started changing it up couple years ago now.
I think this was the 2nd year, because last year we did SAG.
Yes.
To kind of help raise funds for the SAG strike, people that needed funds
and this year we did this year, although I need to chase him for details of like actually getting him the money. Damn you, Guy Roberts is traveling like a month and he's like incommunicado. I was like, he's not great at the best of times, he's so busy. But I was like, dude, where am I sending you this shit to you? Come on, like
come back and let me give you money.
Yeah, I'm waiting to like dole this out to you, but I can't, like, unless you tell me where to send it. So but yeah, we did the Prague Shakespeare Company. run by Guy Roberts, who was our Uno Nameshta in the TV show. And obviously, like and we do our charity snack calendars as well, which is a thing set up by myself, Brian the Gleeman, and that money still goes off to the Community Entertainment Fund, which is for the SAG-AFTRA people. So yeah, we now do it's almost like a three-way. It's good fun.
Yeah.
So that happens
Menage
every
a
year.
trois of
And
charitable intent.
it was the last weekend it was like the last weekend in November, but it rolled over from the Saturday into the Sunday, and it was like the 30th to the 1st or whatever it was. So, but yeah, either that or it's the beginning of December, typically. So it's a lot of fun. I get barely any sleep, and usually something goes wrong every year. it's a different problem every year. It's never the same problem. It's a different problem every year.
I still think my favorite of calamities was the three-way snafu that was every single person from Black Tower Podcast logging in at different times.
Yeah, it was like one of you overslept, one of you had the wrong time, and one of you was just late or something, or forgot or something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, it was something like that.
I was like,
I overslept. Josh had the wrong time.
Yep.
And I think it just slipped Daniel's mind.
Yeah, I think he was just like,
yeah. That sounds accurate. But it was very entertaining.
It was very kind of shout out to Andral, the Bard of Time. It was very kind of him to just stay for an extra hour.
As you do, as one is set to do,
as one do. But yeah,
kind person.
Very, very, very much so. So
generally everybody that shows up for what a holiday is. You got to have a very kind, at least a 1 hour kind bone in your body to show up and donate your time for a charitable cause.
And it becomes a challenge for people who are watching now. Lottie, who has been watching for, I think this was her second year watching now, and somebody else, both managed to stay up for the entire 24 hours. I think the 25 actually. It starts at a decent time for them, so they just I think it starts like mid-afternoon. They're in Canada or something like that, or somewhere like close to the west coast of America type time wise, and they stay up for the full spate of time.
Wow.
And yeah, like someone joined them this year. A couple people tried it last year. I say this year, I mean the 2024 event that's just gone. So yeah, it becomes like a challenge for some people who are watching, and that's always brilliant to see, because people are like, oh, this was this or that, and people are like, oh my god, I missed this, and they have to go back and watch it, and it's just it's a lot of content to try and keep up with.
Well, guys, it's also a great place to find new content creators too, because a lot of times you've got 4 or 5 people that making their debut at What a Holiday, or maybe they're not making their debut, but maybe you just didn't notice their channel before, and you get a chance to kind of see what they do. It's a lot of fun. Rob, thank you so much for really spearheading that. It is super amazing, super fun time every freaking year. What other project?
Rob is the one that makes it happen. All I did was send a random message being like, we should do a holiday stream because holiday, spirit of giving. And
yeah,
Rob
I do. I
suckered in. Just suckered in and has been stuck ever since, and just, oh man, what a hero.
I've streamlined it, so it's actually pretty easy to put together. And I'm bugging Andrew and Cheyenne and be like, hey, so I'm thinking this day, and I'm thinking we do this, and usually they're just like, sounds good, Rob. That's great. Or they give like a little tinkers of input, and I'm like, that sounds wonderful. Yeah. And then I just start like, it gets to, we finish WhatCon, I'm like, hey everyone, taking bookings in like a month, the slots, and usually we're 3/4 full within like 24 hours. And then it just like over the coming weeks, and then just like bug, hey, I've got this slot, that slot, and just try and fill it up with people. Nice. And we try and have new people every year, like you say. But
I think it's harder for me to confirm which slot we want as Black Tower than it is for me to do any confirming with you. Anything I contribute with it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what am I gonna do this year? Hey, I think we could do like 14. I can do like 14 mugs this year, and it's like, oh, great, that sounds perfect. Let's do that. Josh, hey, what hour do we want? I don't know what's open. Screenshot. And then he'll get busy. He'll get busy at work or get a call at work or something. Then it's just like,
it's so true.
I'm like, I really hope that the hour I think he's probably going to choose, which half the time is the hour that we wind up choosing. I'm like, I really hope nobody just snags it.
It does go fast. For 2025, I'm going to put together like an application form because people never get the information. I always get multiple people being like, "Hey, Rob, where's the link?" And stuff like that. Or like, "Oh, I didn't realize we had to try and play a game." Or I was like, "Come on, people, you should know this information by now."
It's a fundraiser.
Yeah,
Josh, we got to be on point for this year because we got to know what we're going to do, have it all
Well,
ahead of time. Like
you don't have to fully know ahead of time, but the form is going to nudge you to be like, you know, here's some ideas, start thinking now, stuff like that. But yeah, it is fun trying to tag you guys down for things.
Sometimes it's just like, it's funny because like doing like trying to help. Josh has got a lot going on and everything too because he's normally been doing like all of our like thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. And I got a tablet and then we got Canva and I'm like, so now luckily I have like a whole week and randomly I'll just have an idea for like the thumbnail for like this episode and I'll do it. And where was my brain going for this? Oh, I'll get like 2 or 3 episodes ahead of time with thumbnails and feel like I'm just like, man, we're just so far ahead. We're so well prepared. It's so crazy. And then like we'll do those episodes and the next episode will be like, you know, that day. And I'm like, oh
shit.
I forgot to do literally anything. The streams haven't been scheduled. They haven't been created. The thumbnail's not ready.
I mean, that sounds like me sometimes when I might be scheduling a IEL themed talk show. So
careful. You have a roof mistress in chat. Just be careful.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of themes and talk shows, real quick, where can everybody, if they want to go back and watch What a Holidays or they want to watch some of these other talk shows and things that you do, I know we've got links and stuff in the show notes and description below, but for anybody that's just listening and is like, I can't be bothered to click an easy link. I need to hear it so I can type it. Or maybe that just works better for them for one reason or another. Where can you be found, good sire?
So you can find all my content on my website, malkiertalks.com. The other easy ways to find me are to go to social media or YouTube and type in Malkier Talks. You'll probably find me. The IEL Talk Show is Threefold Talk. That's every Thursday night. I get together with a bunch of wonderful women and we talk all things IEL. I'm the token wetlander that night. And then I have bi-weekly podcasts with Jen and Megmoz called Three Wheeling. And on that, we talk about the TV show. We're currently going through the old seasons. So we're on 5 and 6 of season 2, actually recording this Saturday for release next Wednesday. And after that, we will just, talk about the TV shows drops. But we have like a show focus for that, trying to not just be another, because there's so many great book podcasts out there. We were like, let's do a TV show focus because Jen is an actual TV showrunner and screenwriter. So we thought we'd take advantage of that and, have some fun just talking the TV show specifically. So
sweet.
I was going to do a different segue, but that's a perfect segue because we have something that we do. And by we, the fantabulous, ever gracious, may he live forever, Emperor Commissioner Smack.
Dude, that's his new title. I love it. Emperor Commissioner Smack.
I'm hoping if we flatter him enough that maybe we'll get a couple extra like brown noser points this year. With a new season coming out means a new Wheel of Time TV show fantasy draft. And we are hunting for teams, not victims, teams, collaborators. Josh, I believe you have a very impassionate way to implore
look
our seemingly resistant host that we're going to put on the spot here.
So Rob, what I need to know is which team, which show are you going to organize a team with and join in? And I bring this to your attention for one reason and one reason only. Well, 2 reasons. One, I like seeing your face. It's great. But Wolf Brother, who's the reigning champion from season 2, said that you would be too afraid to go up against him in Watt Fantasy League. So
he would be correct. I mean, I'm a busy guy. I need deets. Like what's the commitment? Tell me how it works. Give me your elevator pitch.
So the show comes out on what was it, Friday, I think, and that gives our commissioner team a chance to watch the newest episode, tally up all the points, assign the points to all the characters, input those points into the spreadsheets, double check the numbers, certify the numbers, and then on every Sunday we do a stream where the commissioner announces which player got which points. We announce any trades or anything like that needs to happen.
Sunday
characters. This is the TV show, man. We don't have players.
Characters.
This is not the
all the world's a stage, and we are merely players, sir.
So a lot of the same rules from last year still apply. Teams of up to 4 players. So those will be the players. 4 members will get together, and the commissioner and co-commissioners will be doing all the scoring based on definitely 3, potentially 4 categories, like combat, romance, which has been tweaked and reworked this year to be a lot more viewer user friendly, to remove some potentially problematic and less some kind of icky verbiage to make it more fun, to keep the fun motif. Like losing points if a character spurns a potential or possible lover. So like, your game is shit, so get away from me.
No riz here, people. No riz.
Yeah.
No riz. No cap.
Of course, magic. You can't have the show and a fantasy draft without magic being a key point.
Correct.
Potentially, there may be points given for a friendship category, and then of course we're also introducing. There's going to be an addition of Black Tower podcasts, like buzzwords or keywords or whatever, that are also going to be worth points. Some of them are more like kind of be closer to like phrases or whatever. Some of them are more like categories of words to a degree. Like one of them might be what swears, get the character some points. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
So Rob, Sundays.
I mean, Sundays. It's the day I walk my cat, man.
We don't have to do every Sunday.
How long is
you
your
joined
cat
it
walking? Like,
well, it's all right.
Normally,
well, not to get too personal, but it's not just cat walking day, but it's like ball washing day as well. So like I gotta keep fresh.
You do have to keep the tank clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe once in a while you just walk your cat across the courtyard instead of around a couple blocks.
I was gonna go there actually. No, I love that you got it. I love that you got that. That's great. Okay. I don't know. Well, I'll think about it. Maybe you can convince me by the end of the episode.
Maybe, because I know earlier in this you said yes to everything, and now you have restraint. What I'd really like from you right now is for you to not have that restraint.
I mean, I am on the Black Tower podcast. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Let's get a couple of tainty.
At least half of this is right. Half of this is right. So you don't have to do every Sunday. Part of the idea going with having a full team, or just however many people you have in your team, is that the Sunday showdown episodes, you just one person from each team, if they can, shows up. We do a review of the episode. It's a lot of fun. We talk smack back and forth with each other, go over the points, and go over which teams are, kind of winning, which teams made bad choices. Normally, if it's just players, it was me. Definitely me. I did terrible our first go around because I refused to give up men.
It's true. That was really, really a poor
See,
choice.
I've played regular fantasy once or twice, and
Mhm.
I've learned, and not that I'm very good at regular fantasy because I just don't have the knowledge of the NFL the way you need it really to play fantasy properly. But I did learn that you can't be sticking with your favorites. You have to that has to go out the window. So
Sentimentality. No.
if Meg Moz listens, I will say that I might have to, if you convince me to play 1 week, I might not have Perrin. I might have to have Egwene, as icky as that makes me feel. And Meg knows what I mean by that.
Oh.
Then then that would be the case.
Shut up,
So
wine. Shut up, wine. Damn.
Well, we will see if this conversation just gets the fires stoked for you to get you in.
I mean,
I think
let's
we
see
can
if
do
you've
it.
got enough talent between you to convince me to play.
Oh, ho, ho.
Oh, this is the
Oh.
gauntlet. It's just been thrown.
Maybe I was inspired by your episode choice.
Maybe. Well, speaking of inspiration, none of them are too long, so I'm going to give Rob. You get the choice. If you would please choose a number between 1 and 8. You can choose 1. You can choose 8 for our spoiler warning.
Pick a good one.
I'm not going to tell you which one is it, and it's not on a scale of one's better than the other.
Yeah, these randomly assigned numbers.
My gut says number 5.
All right, let's go. Number 5.
Mm.
Johnny 5. Number 5 is alive.
All right. Well, this one's a good one. I like it.
Kids don't get.
Welcome to the Black Tower, a Wheel of Time podcast. All right, let's check here. Okay. This podcast episode will be spoiling books 1 through... I mean, let's be honest here. Whatever Josh lets slip. So how about you pull that spoiler condom all the way on? Anyway, quit your whining. The last book came out in 2012. He was actually a ghost, and Rosebud was the name of his sled, for creator's sake.
And if you want the energy to disagree, we're going to do a quick plug here. Go over to w.gg, use code BTP for 10% off, or use the code in the show notes down below. Sweet. I think that's enough plugging, all that kind of stuff. Half an hour in with all of the stuff plugged and put out there, and the exciting announcement of the coming of the third. Yeah, season
Also,
3.
that was
third fantasy.
The person who recorded that was Sexy Morshadi. You know him as Sexy Morshadi and the Fact Checker Mahale. He also has his own show called Delving the Chronicles with he's got with Beth and with Zool
And Koala Sedai.
and Koala Sedai. Thank you. And they delve the chronicles, and it's a fun time. So definitely give them a check if they're your energy or flavor.
Can vouch.
But as
I've been a guest. They're great fun.
Wow, you've been a guest. We haven't. I guess, Andrew. I guess that club's just too exclusive.
No. Koala came from Malkier and they were like eager to have me on after that to talk about what a holiday. So yeah.
All right.
remember when you said people search Wheel of Time, and like after they go through 13, you get that?
Not true.
Oh, that's right. If they misspell it, then we come up. And they're
I
like,
bet
oh
if
yeah,
people, I bet if people search Tate, you're up there pretty high.
We did claim Taint once the show came
did.
out, and Rafe said it's the corruption now. We were like, Taint is ours. We get it. It's ours. So it is. It is official property of the Black Tower.
all right. Well, shall we get into it?
Let's
Josh,
do it. Let's go.
You know what we're talking about?
No, I have no idea.
No. Rob, I think you know what we're talking about.
You gave me a heads up.
I think I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did.
Cool.
So that everybody else knows, we're talking about the talents of the Forsaken. Both capital T and lowercase t. Maybe they look like Josh with his Guinness tank top on, just crazy with 2 swords. Maybe they look like me, awkward in front of a microphone, just staring at you like, what do you expect me to do with this? Maybe they look like Rob with a nice Stein, just completely chill, loving life, completely in his element.
But
Maybe they
my
look like
talent
the
is
stage.
drinking.
Hey. Maybe they look like the stage on fire, burnt and about to fall apart.
Love it.
It's time for the Forsaken Talent Show.
Beautiful.
I'm very proud of this one, though. I think it's one of my top 5, if not my best one yet. I'm very,
It's a very
very
It's
proud
a good
of.
one. You did
Mhm.
good, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Rob, I think actually the whole capital T, lowercase t talent thing I know that we talk about originates from us being a guest of yours talking
Yeah,
about talents.
back in
And I think
the
that
days.
the conversation, yeah. And I think that conversation is like expanded and grown and elevated about 20 different times since. So, would you care to elaborate for the masses, the masses of all 6 people that might hear this? What's the
All
difference
right,
between
but
capital T and
less of
lowercase t?
this negative self talk here, guys. Come on.
No, it's not, but it's funny. It's
No,
funny.
a little bit's funny. Now no. You guys are awesome. You rock. You are not lower tier content creators. Let's not
Oh,
have
fine,
this.
fine.
All right.
Make me blush.
I'm fine. I'm down with a little bit of self-deprecating humor, but this is a little bit is the imperative word there. So
Thank you.
Yes,
you
sir.
guys rock.
Yes, sir.
The little T capital T talent thing. Oh God, it was a long time ago we had this discussion.
Rob has the capital T talent for making you feel better about yourselves.
Ah,
Look at
It's
that.
true.
that's very kind.
All the hearts.
So the capital T talent, that is like, isn't it that we decided capital T talent is like when you can see Tiviran. I couldn't figure the name then. When you can
Yes.
see the glow
Mhm.
around Tiviran and things like that. But like a lower T talent is that something that was specific to like one person we decided?
Not
So I think
necessarily.
capital T talent is something that can't be taught.
Ah, right, that was it. Yeah.
And can't be trained. Like you can't be trained up to that caliber.
You can't. You either are or you are not a wolf brother.
Yeah.
You cannot learn
Right.
to become a wolf brother. Therefore, wolf brother is a capital T talent.
Yeah.
You
You
either
either
are,
can see viewings of the future or you can't.
exactly.
So you
Right.
either are men or you actually are a sexy lamb. You're one of the two. You can't be both.
And the interesting thing about the capital T talents, and actually Maria talked about this with us at the Gathering Madness last October, and she said the interesting thing about the capital T talents is that they are not necessarily tied to the one power.
Mhm.
Dreamers, wolf brothers,
Tree singing
tree
for the
singing,
Ogier.
those kinds of talents,
Yeah.
you can't learn them, you can't teach them, you just are
Dancing the
or you are
Sasara.
not.
Wait, no, you can train that. Never mind.
Yeah, and you just are or not. And the most interesting thing about them is that they're not directly tied to the one power. And the fun part is that our lowercase t talents almost always are tied to the one power, because we decided that Androl's Gateways is a lowercase t talent, which ruffled a lot of
Mhm.
feathers.
But it's like a gilded fancy lowercase t.
It is.
It is. He's like, the echelon of lowercase T talent in that
He's like
category there when it
Yeah,
comes to
he's like the
gateways.
lowercase t that's like right on the cusp of being promoted to capital T.
Correct. He's lowercase t with an asterisk. But if you can
Yeah.
learn to do a thing, if you can learn to weave a gateway, great, good job. But if you have a natural affinity, if you go to weave a gateway and you're like, ooh, this feels good, whoosh, and you're able to do a lot more with a gateway than you should be able to do with, then that's a lowercase t. You have some kind of affinity. And we see these everywhere. And again, most always it's, hey, I'm doing this weave and it just feels really good to do it this way. And it's a lowercase t.
Yeah. So like we see from the TV, we saw it TV show season 2 episode 1. We just did the rewatch with Dragon Mount for. Or sorry, I did. That that sounds like shade. Wasn't meant to be, Josh. I'm so used to you being there with me. I thought you were, but no, that was with Tom and Reverse BLT. Nynaeve, lowercase t talent of being able to see a weave once and replicate it.
Yes.
Because in the TV show, she only
Yeah.
sees the kind of wind restraint from the Andron once, and when she finally gets pissed off, is able to perfectly replicate it. Well, much stronger replicate it.
Andro is the Venus Williams of Gateway Weavers.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
with that, we've got the Forsaken or the Chosen, depending on the side of history you want to be on, the wrong one or the correct one.
Love how you left that unambiguous.
Yeah.
there. Like, it didn't assign a right or wrong
There-
one to
there
either
is a
of
right
them,
answer.
so-
If your nickname is the Forsaken, I think there's a pretty good idea of which side you fall on. But, that's just me. I'm not the arbitrator of right and wrong here, but you're the bad guys.
No, sir. No, sir, you're not.
So, being beings, being beings that have been in some varying degrees of stasis since the age of legend, since a time of political and scientific and magical, as close to utopia as far as we know that this world has ever seen. They gotta have some incredible both capital T and lowercase t talents. So that's what we talk about. I think there are some examples that are given about some of them, but a lot of it is just kind of theoretical things that they seem to be really good with. Because they just have an incredible breadth of knowledge. Like Lanfear has so much knowledge in the inner workings of how to use Sidair that watching her interact with any of the Aes Sedai, especially early on in the series, makes it seem like she just has a talent for channeling.
She's on a whole
Because she
different
just
level.
bats things away like it's no problem. Even when Rand flails at her, she bats all of his stuff away like it's no problem. And it seems like it's kind of like that idea of almost like any sufficiently advanced technology will appear to be magic to the lesser advanced entity observing it. It's almost the same thing here. Like Lanfear at this point is just that much more knowledgeable.
She makes magic look like it's magic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely nuts. But also when you learn, like, hey, when she was still Mirren, she's the one that poked a hole in the Dark One's prison. Like, hey, there's power there. I'm just gonna, I don't know, poke a hole in creation itself to see if I can touch the power that's there. I mean, you kind of expect it. I don't know if that itself should be a talent or not.
She's like the fish in Nemo, but if the fish were highly intelligent, going touch the butt, touch the butt, I touch the butt.
Poke the prison. Poke the prison.
Yeah. Is that really why the Dark One's so mad? Mirren like basically put Shaitan through like a crash course in MEPS. Like made him duck balk, and
She
MEPS is like the in processing for US military. And there comes a point for everybody in MEPS where you have to bend over a table and spread the cheeks and let the doctor take a look at your eye of the world. So maybe Mirren just accidentally rang that doorbell. Boop.
Maybe. It's like, so wait, is the Dark One a cat that you just like put in the butt back? It's like, no!
It's absolutely so pissed to destroy all of creation because Mirren accidentally rang the back doorbell.
Yep.
He was just fine.
Touch the belly.
The whole series now stems from Robert Jordan's experience with MEPS. We figured it out. It's done.
There we go. Yeah.
I think one of the most interesting factors to take into account when it comes to talents of the Forsaken is the ones that don't seem to be missing. And that's that they are all dreamers. Now, I don't know if it's ever confirmed that they are, in fact, dreamers, or if they just have Tirangriel that allows them to enter the world of dreams. We also do know that some of them just physically enter the world of dreams, which you don't need to be a dreamer to do that, right? You can weave a gateway to Teleron-Riyadh. So
yeah.
I think that's an interesting little thing. Like, are they all dreamers? I would like to think that they all are, just because they were some of the most elite of their day.
Yeah. I mean, was it which episode we just did an episode not too long ago where we talked about, like, maybe we figured out a reason why maybe the being physically in Teleron-Riyadh was so bad and considered so bad moving forward, and I can't remember what it was. Don't you hate it when you feel like you have an idea that's like revolutionary almost, and then you're
I know where you're going, and I also cannot remember. Rob, what were you were gonna say something?
I was gonna say I'm not 100% sure they would all be dreamers, because if they were all dreamers, why bother with weaving a gateway to get yourself there physically? That's I would say there. I mean, maybe they just find it more advantageous to be there physically than to dream themselves in.
Which would only
only
show their ignorance of how Teleron-Riyadh works. But yeah.
I mean, just because they're Forsaken doesn't mean they're smart.
I mean, they show that kind of over and over again.
This is obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, so with that, speaking of them being able to open gateways, like, that's a lowercase t talent. Anybody with of sufficient power can be taught to travel.
Correct.
And many of the Forsaken seem to do it without much effort. So there's probably some that kind of do fall in the realm of having that lowercase t talent, and some that don't have the lowercase t talent. They just have sufficient power, because, like, Andral has the lowercase t talent.
Correct.
That's why he can do it without being able to hold enough of the power to do it. Though that being said, all the Forsaken have the power scale level to be able to do it. But that doesn't mean they don't have the lowercase t talent. I know. Yeah. Interesting. I know one that is specifically mentioned is mentioned by Mogideon, and she mentions her talent for milking tears.
Right.
Which was a capital T talent that allowed the manipulation of the emotions of others and might be related to compulsion.
Is that what that actually meant? I've never actually looked up what the milking of tears is.
Or that's what it's speculated to be, but that's what it seems to be indicating. I think whenever I read it, I kind of thought that maybe it was something akin to, like, is it Masana? I think it's Masana, right? That kills the warder with pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why my brain wants to link that to what she does to both the warder and the Aes Sedai, because she sits there and she doesn't use compulsion on them.
No.
And it's more than just emotion. Like, she's playing with their sensations, but
yeah.
I mean, during the whole thing, like, both of them are like weeping from the sensations and stuff. So I was wondering if maybe it was like more that than just manipulating emotions.
Yeah, she's triggering the actual, like, neurons in their brains and such.
She's also
now all I'm getting is some kind of pre-Mistborn situation with, like, the soothers and rioters. I don't know if you guys.
I just started reading Mistborn. Subtle shout out. Go check out that whenever it gets published by North Harbor podcast, because I'm doing that with Rebecca Sedai.
Nice. I'm glad I didn't give any spoilers before.
Yeah, actually, perfect timing
All I
because
did was
I've
describe
only read
you.
part 1 of Mistborn. Part 1.
Okay, so the Suvas and Rioters, they brass and zinc, I
Yep.
think, might be the two
Yep.
metals that they burn. I know those are two metals, but
No, that's it.
anyway.
It's brass
So
and zinc.
Suvas burn brass and zinc. Okay, yeah. So they burn those. If you burn brass, you soothe, you can dampen emotions.
Mhm.
And if you burn zinc, you can inflame emotions. And now you're talking about milking tears. It just makes me think that it would be that sort of thing. Obviously, without the burning of metal, you would just naturally be able to dampen or inflame emotions, and
Mhm.
with practice, maybe pick out emotions to do that too.
That
Yeah.
that kind of brings up the question of, because who was Semirog was also very good with, was it Semirog who was very skilled in healing matters of the mind, was a psychologist and then eventually started torturing people because it was fun. How much
Yeah.
of that, and I know this goes back to our talent debate, how much of that is talent and how much of that is just practice? Because if you want to be a concert violinist, you can be. There's no correlation. There's nobody who just picks it up one day and goes, "Oh, ha, ha, I can play the violin." No, you practice 40 hours a week, you're going to be good. You practice 10 hours a week, you're going to be as good as a 10-hour a week practice routine is. It's just kind of how
Yeah.
humanity works. But how does that translate with the Forsaken, I wonder?
I don't think hers would be a capital T talent. I think it would be a lowercase T talent.
Just maybe that's why she's good. She had a fascination with it. She was gravitated towards it, so maybe that gives it a base.
Yeah, I think she had the big focus to it, and that led her to do the quote 10,000 hours and become highly skilled to the point
Grindal was a
of
psychologist.
talent.
Oh,
Because that's why she's so
Was it
good.
Grindal?
Yeah, that's why she's so good with compulsion.
Okay. I'm not gonna
that
lie.
and
I get
her
some of them mixed up.
endowment. Yeah, so both Grindal and Cimarog were both prolific healers. But Grindal focused on psychology. Cimarog focused on physical healing, if you want to call it that. It was more like not was Flynn the one that could heal without like torturing you? The Black Tower, was that Dahmer Flynn?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so not
Yeah.
the Dahmer Flynn version of healing, but all of the other pretty much Ashaman healing times 10 was what Cimarog did. Not because she had to, but because she
liked
wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. She was the one who was like, "Oh yes, come to me for healing," and then they'd come to her and be like, "Heal me," and she'd be like, "Cool."
Yeah. Which
That hurt when you did that. Well, there's a price to pay.
makes it extra interesting that Masana's the one that jizzed the warder to death.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's tough with those ones. I think they are little T talents. All those ones so far. I have an idea for a member of the Forsaken who I think has who doesn't know they have a big T talent for something.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would argue that Andro, why am I saying Andro? Asmodean.
Secret plot line, Andral joins the Forsaken.
That's Asmodean has a big T talent. He just doesn't know it for tree singing.
Oh.
Which is why he's so drawn to music.
Interesting.
I would argue that if he hadn't become a member of the Forsaken, if he carried on being just his musical self, and hadn't been like, I need to become evil to become the best musician in the world, if he just kept plugging away 10,000 hours, 10,000 hours, 10,000 hours, I feel like he would have finally unlocked, or at least come across a situation where, his singing and channeling, he recognized the point of connection between the two, and realized he could do tree singing.
Huh.
He became a Forsaken to become the best musician in the world.
Right.
He is obsessed with music, and I think that stems from an unconscious connection to tree singing. He doesn't realize he can do that, and he's just subconsciously drawn and to that and
Do you
pushed
know,
towards music.
I've always considered Asmodean sort of like a stand-in for Led Zeppelin or rock and rollers at the time, right? Because Robert Jordan would absolutely be making a joke about a rock star who wanted to sell his soul to become the greatest rock star that ever lived. Like there was a lot of that going around back then, anyway. So I
we
always
all just want to be big rock stars.
I like
Hilltop
yours.
Mansions.
I like yours better.
Yeah.
Because it stays like within the realm, within the story, and I like that. I really like that. So I'm gonna
and then if you wanted to be silly with the TV show, you could do what they did with Bones, where he could just be a character that pops in and out occasionally and be played by someone like ZZ Top, like they did in Bones, and just be like, "Holy shit, your dad is this big musician." It'd be like, "It's just my dad,"
What are you talking about? That's my dad.
You know how great it would be to see like just ZZ Top, like one of the members of ZZ Top come out spinning a harp on a strap as Asmodean, because every girl's crazy about a sharp dress gleaming.
Bring, 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 bring. Fun story. Fun movie fact of the year. When Back to the Future 3 was shot, and ZZ Top is the band that's playing at the festival, but when they're back in the Old West, they just started playing the set. They were just playing and having fun, and everybody was dancing, having a great time. And Zemeckis was like, "Film this," just on a whim, just to be like, "What's up? This is kind of cool. They're having fun," and that's the cut that they ended up using in the movie.
I feel really stupid. I've never picked up to this.
Oh yeah.
Playing at the...
Well, hey, it's a double layer fun fact for the night.
That's amazing. It's been a long time since I've watched the Back to the Future franchise. I'm gonna have to watch that again.
Need a rewatch.
Just to pick up on that. Yeah.
I feel like we talk a lot about female talents. I think
we want to go through just some talents and see if we can think of a Forsaken that would have them. There's a fair number of these that I think are going to fall under female, and two of these, I'm going to kind of lump. Well, I mean, they're independent talents, but they fall under the same healing. In and of itself, can have a lowercase t talent. We see that with Nynaeve, and Dahmer Flynn. They have lowercase t talent. What they're doing can be learned to be done by anyone, but they just have that extra knack for it. They're the teacher's pet of healing. The creator was like, you snitched on the class when they were talking and they shouldn't. You get a little extra bonus here. Blood boiling is a capital T talent. The ability, just like it sounds, the ability to make another person's blood boil, killing them. Surprise, it kills them. If your blood boils, you die.
Ask any diver who's come up too fast. Yeah.
With that, there's also another one that falls under the healing scope called cardiac arrest. Want to guess what that one does?
It
arrest your cardiac.
Exactly.
Arrest.
Yeah.
You're under arrest for violation.
It stops your heart from beating, thus killing the person.
Amazing how that works.
What's interesting about these descriptions is they say this talent with a lowercase t is strongly linked with the capital T talent of healing. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, no, I love that comment from He Who Comes to the Wild.
Yeah. I think they got it reversed. I think these are the capital T talents. But also, I wonder, do you think with sufficient enough understanding of human biology that you could just learn? Because all you'd have to do to blood boil is be able to impart like a weave of fire into the blood.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Because that might cook the blood and turn it, basically stop it, put it in scab in their veins. I think what you would have to
it would
do
have
is
to be like a
create
low grade.
a pressure vacuum in around their ventricle system, which is scarier in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, no, you could, because that's fine control of air, but you could also do it with like a low grade amount of heat.
Yeah, I reckon you could learn to do that with enough practice and finesse.
Plus, also, like,
you know, if you went,
it doesn't say that blood boiling kills them by the blood just boiling. I mean, if you boiled the blood to the point where it turned into a slurry,
That's also true.
yeah.
well,
And cardiac arrest is very simple. You just have to freeze the heart somehow from moving.
Yeah.
So
Again, can be air.
which
Either
I feel
pressure
like
or vacuum.
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely like a barbarian that would just stab someone in the heart and be like, "Look, I just channeled cardiac arrest."
Oh, there you go. Air and water around the heart to keep it from expanding.
There you go.
Yep.
That
That'll
would
do it.
that would in fact do it.
So let's see, I think there's a mix of these that they label as just capital T talents. They're definitely a mix of both capital and lowercase t. Like cloud dancing, that's a lowercase t talent. You can learn to do it. So anyway, but for like blood boiling cardiac arrest, I think that would definitely be things like Cimarog would do. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably the reason those things exist.
Yeah, probably.
There's another thing to be said for this. If you become the first person to do it, I think you can qualify as having a lowercase t talent for it. If someone else can learn to do it.
Yeah, if you discover it and no one else can copy it, then you're like, aha, big T talent. But if you discover it and then try and teach it to someone else and they can learn it, you know. But I mean, also by that argument, if you figure out how to do it and you're a channeler, then generally speaking, it's probably a lowercase t talent that no one has thought of.
Yeah. So to answer Wine's question, yes, Rihanna Andomarin had the talent for blood boiling, but also Chesma Emery, Catswain, and Suan Sanchi had the talents for cardiac arrest. The Armelin seat could just reach out and, yeah, your heart's not beating. You're done. You're done. No more. Let's see. Cloud dance, blah blah blah. What's some other fun? Earth singing. This is what we're looking for. Like, we talked a lot about the female Forsaken, something that's probably going to fall more under the male Forsaken. Earth singing, just the ability to understand, control, and manipulate Earth with more ease and dexterity than usual. Just like I think Androl's lowercase t talent, I think this would also basically just be a name given to the lowercase t talent for being really good with weaving Earth.
Yeah, I would agree.
So,
if anyone had any of the Forsaken having that particularly, I don't know if the guys like Ravine and that. I don't think they would really. They're more focused on the fighting, so I don't see them really, with the exception to be like, I'm going to blow up the Earth below you. I don't think they're going to focus on Earth in terms of fine weaving with Earth the way that Androl weaves gateways. I don't think they're going to practice that much to get to that level. I'm not going to say they'll be powerful with Earth. They can do great things with it, I imagine, but I don't see them having that, instinctive, easy ability to use it.
I could see them using it for like, excuse me, for like showboaty things, like rising an ornate stone throne or something like that.
Yeah.
Or just something minuscule like that, or them like having helped like Ogier during the Age of Legends, like with construction and stuff.
I mean, the Ogier stonemasonry, that you could argue that might be a big T talent because the Ogier can't channel.
Oh no, for the Ogier it would be. But I mean, like, if you were trying to help raise a massive tower and make it faster. Maybe you could raise like a large portion of the wall, and then the Ogier could sing to the wall and make it look more organic. Because the stone singing was already something that like the Ogier could do, but they didn't really like doing it because
Yeah.
stone wasn't really alive, and trying to make it look alive was a little weird for them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
Hmm.
there's probably channelers out there that have stone singing as a big T talent.
Just nobody sits around singing the rocks.
Yeah, but yeah, I just don't. Again, I don't see the male. I think they're all the Forsaken are going to be focused on what can I use as a weapon,
Mhm.
you know, and they're going to ignore things like pulling up giant lumps of rocks or fine weaving metals from the earth to whatever they need in that particular moment. Again, I'm just thinking of I've just finished rereading the Aragon series because I wanted to refresh myself before I read the new book. And there's a scene in it where he uses the magic in the book to search out the fine minuscule grains of gold that are just present throughout Earth but are like too minuscule to make it worth mining, for example. And he can just pull those all together and then literally just draw out 3 giant balls of gold out of the earth, no problems type thing. That would be, a fine-tuned little T talent of doing that. I just don't see them trying to work that sort of level of anything with Earth. I don't see them. I think they're too short-sighted to see anything like that as a weapon or as an offensive ability. Whereas, I'm pretty sure if you actually thought about it, you're like, oh, there's an army running towards me. I will search the earth for all the, iron and make giant iron spears just pop up right where they're running and skewer them all.
Would have been badass. So there is a derivative of Earth that might fall in that category that is potentially pretty cool if you assume. The speculation is this weave refers to the creation of lava, but it's spinning earth fire.
I like lava.
It's like rock, but like water, but Bernie ouchie.
But Bernie ouchie.
I mean, anybody that's played enough Minecraft knows that lava makes a fantastic trap, a fantastic part of your automation contraptions. It cooks chicken to perfection every time.
Really?
Do you know what
I mean, you gotta do it the right way. There's a contraption where you can have it like shoot out the egg, and then when the egg like hits, if it does produce a baby chicken, it's fine. But then when the chicken grows, the baby chick grows into a full chicken, it touches the lava, which then kills the chicken, but like instantly makes it cooked chicken.
What is happening?
I'm just getting a weird, like, someone holding a chicken like a gun thing and shooting eggs into tiny little squares of lava.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's wrong.
I'm gonna say it's weird.
I mean, it's pretty common for Minecraft, but there's a lot of weird things common for Minecraft.
True.
Rob, I like where you're going with the different talents, right? And I to kind of, or specifically with the men, the talents specifically with the men. And I like to build on that a little bit because I like where you're going with Asmodean having a talent for like tree singing, but never knowing it because he's obsessed with, guitar and harp. What if the reason we don't get a lot of information about the male Forsaken talents is because they do have talents that don't suit their desires for conquer and conquest, and so they never really focus on them. They focus on swordplay, they focus on military tactics, they focus on battle weaves. And from what I understand, what we see is that they all have knowledge of the Age of Legends when the one power is wielded like a an extension of yourself, and people know it, are a lot more intimate with it. But do they have any talents for any of these combat weaves? Do they have any talent for any of these kinds of things, or is it something that they just largely ignore because they want to conquer.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely something they would ignore. Like, the guys are a little cliche, and they're like, I'm a general, I'm going to go fight, and things like that. Generally speaking, that's usually how they seem to go. Where the women are a little less like that. They're a little bit more, fight in the shadows sort of situation, or use politics a little bit more than the men. Not exclusively across the board on either category, but generally speaking, they're a bit, they're a bit more focused on that, which is why I think the female talents probably pop up a smidge more, because the women will explore multiple options to attack the
They'll be
enemy.
Yeah.
Whereas the men are a little bit more direct.
The women are definitely going to be more resourceful.
Yeah. Looking at the way the characters behave in the books, the men are a little bit more direct than the women are. And I think they're just too focused on what's going to be helpful in a classic battle sense. And that's kind of what, getting their revenge on things. Which is why I think Asmodeus just fits even better, because he's like, I gotta do some. He does do some horrible things. If you actually read up on Asmodeus, you're just like, dude's a nasty dude. Like sent off his mother to be tortured or something stupid like that, didn't he? By a murderer, because he just did.
Mom doesn't know about my music.
Yeah, I know people love Asmodeus. I'm one of the people that love Asmodeus as well. But he is actually an evil, nasty person. Let's be very clear about that. But because he's not like, I'm going to go lead battles, I'm going to, torture cities constantly, it seems like he does evil things when he's like almost sort of pushed to do evil things. But the rest of the time, he's just kind of like, just taking advantage of being evil because it gives me time to be the best musician. Whereas the other guys are a bit more focused on domination. He
does seem to be the most opportunistic of the Forsaken.
Yeah, like in terms of taking opportunity to enjoy being, free to do whatever he wants, because there's no sort of commitment to things. Rieva's like, well, I will take on more responsibility by controlling this city or that city, or attacking this enemy, or I have a vengeance against Lucerne, or whatever it might be. Yeah, the women spend a bit more time doing other things, and I think they stumble into their talents a little bit more. I would definitely think the guys have hidden talents that they just have no idea about. Like, one of them's probably, what was it cloud walking? There's probably a cloud walker in there because they have no idea. They just like don't worry about it, or it's just like, that doesn't help me be evil. So
how does this help me with my goal of world conquest? How does it help me become Neblis? Yeah. It doesn't.
So I had a thought just now that occurred to me. So we know, like, a big tenet of the Wheel of Time's kind of theme is balance. And in the Age of Legends, an era where you have such massively powerful individual channelers across the board, like, much of the Forsaken that we see, like, they were still very strong for their age, but they weren't like unbelievably leagues above everybody else strong, with the exception of people like Demandred and Ishmael and Luce there. Well, Luce there, and obviously not being a Forsaken, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. They weren't quite the anomaly that they would have been in the current age. Like, Nynaeve is obviously up in that level of strength. She's an anomaly. Egwene's up there. She's an anomaly. Rand's an anomaly. But 3,000 years ago, how many years ago it was, they would be like just the upper echelon of regular channelers.
So do you think that there's a chance that the prevalence of talents correlates to the overall strength of channelers to try to balance the powers of channeling? And that's why we see so many talents in both uppercase T and lowercase t in the Third Age, because there's so much fewer inherently strong channelers. Like, it's judging by the fact that all 13 Forsaken, well, presumably, because even after Balal, well, not Balal, because he doesn't get fucking reincarnated because Moraine saw to that shit. Balthamel and Agenor, fucking best moment ever, just busting into the Stone of Tears, like room holding Quindiar, and it's just like, nope. But Balthamel and Agenor, after they're reincarnated, their reincarnated versions can still travel.
Yeah.
Sindane can still travel. You just don't really see it as
Right.
much because they're under the control of other people beyond the Dark One.
Right.
So they can already travel and do all of this stuff that now is considered a small T talent that is far less common now, and most of the time people can't do it because they simply don't have the strength and the one power to do it. But here are 13 people, which are fair enough. At least half of them are stronger than your average bear, but the other half are more indicative of your higher mid-tier channelers from the Age of Legends that are able to do all this. I mean, part of the reason Agenor never wanted to go out in battle is because he wasn't particularly skilled in battle, but he also wasn't particularly strong in terms of battle weaves. Like, he would look at Demandra channeling and be like, nah, fuck that, I'm good. Like, I don't need to go anywhere near Chernobyl over there. I'm good over here. So he just, tinkered with his experiment. So I think it would be a way that the wheel maybe is trying to balance the weaker channeling abilities because of whatever reason you want to give it, because of the culling of channelers, because of just the less prevalence in training, whatever you want to call it. And now you have these things that wind up manifesting themselves to give the channelers that do exist a better chance at being as effective as their predecessors were.
I like that.
Yeah, I agree. That it is all about balance, like you say. So that makes a lot of sense. Maybe it wasn't a deliberate thing by Jordan. Maybe it was like a subconscious thing that he put in there. But would almost make it better for me, to be honest.
Maybe
Because it'd be like the pattern was affecting him as he was writing.
Yeah,
he is
because it almost be like whenever you make like custom magic items in D&D, you try to make them not too broken. Like, could you imagine like Demandred with like also a talent for controlling Angriel, or some broken thing like that, or just some of the Forsaken with capital T talents for doing things that on top of like their Age of Legends knowledge. Because I mean, like, when they see Aes Sedai and channelers of the current age, like, the only real things they look at, they're like, huh, that's new, that's weird, how'd they do that? Is like the bond.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much everything else, they're like, oh, I can't believe they forgot how to do this simple thing.
Yeah. Or they do that in a really weird, convoluted way now, and it's because they don't have the strength to do it the original way.
Well, and that goes along with, again, that still goes along with, I think that in the name of balance, you do have Forsaken who are incredibly capable, who have incredibly overpowered talents, but can't get past their own ego. And so they focus entirely on the wrong things. I like that. I like that. I think that's a good point, Andrew.
Yeah. Works for me, definitely. So by that argument, they have lower T talents, probably in abundance, because of their power and knowledge.
Yeah.
But uppercase talents are probably few and far between.
Yeah.
And if they do have them, they don't know about them because they didn't need to, or they didn't care to follow.
I think like a lot of the stuff
And
we would still call uppercase T talents probably still existed. Like the things like wolf brothers and sisters, wolf persons or whatever, and
wolf people.
Wolf siblings is my non-gender specific term of choice.
Foretelling. What was I think dreaming is the one that Egwene has, where it's like kind of foretelling, but only in dreams.
Yes.
Thing.
Yeah.
There was a couple others. I can't remember what the rest were, but basically, like the things that aren't really tied to the ability to channel.
Right.
So I think those would have remained to some scale of prevalence. I mean, the percentage I think would have been lower because the population was higher. But as far as like looking at somebody that could open tiny gateways over and over and over again to cut leather for themselves like it was nothing, they would just be like, "Oh, that's cool. You've been practicing a lot. No big deal."
Yeah,
Whereas now, like in the third age, you look at Andral like he's, gateway Jesus.
basically, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love it.
because they caught people back then. No one was, there was none this like, if you're a male channeler, you were found, and you got tested and stuff like that. There was no, you have to come to the White Tower before you can possibly see if you can channel me nice as I like. People just, test me. Can I learn type thing. It was a casual, like, hey, you're 16, let's
Yeah.
get tested. Like it was like doing your LSATs
Yeah.
or something. It was just like everybody did it. So you found everybody. So people, there were much more prevalent amount of channelers, and thus many people living much longer and sharing their knowledge as they go down it. And you would find people would be like, yeah, I've been alive 300 years now, and I like messing with gateways, and now I can I don't own a pair of scissors anymore as a result, because who needs scissors when I can create millimeter across gateways to trim everything.
Why would I buy a razor to shave with when I can just
yeah, when I can just like run a gateway down my face, like with that
Just
level
like
of
opening
precision.
gateways and closing them on your
you still shave with the Gillette Mach 87? My papa shaves with gateways.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Yeah. I like this. I like this discussion. I like this topic. I feel like we could chew on the different things that they can do and debate to death whether or not they're lowercase or uppercase talents or anything like that. If you're watching this, like, leave a comment. Like, tell us what you think. There's a talent of one of the Forsaken that we just completely missed. Tell us if you think that there is something we dismissed that you thought was a talent. Like, get feisty with it. We like it.
Yeah. I think where the discussion goes next is for the TV show, like what talents we may or may not see in the TV show, or things we see and be like, is that a big T talent or a little T talent? Just see what Rafe puts in there.
We shall indeed see. And speaking of the television show, we should be getting the first trailer any day now. By the time this airs live for everybody, it might actually already be out.
I heard the end of January was the initial suggested drop segment area, and tomorrow, or for me today anyway, is what, Wednesday. And a lot of people are like, maybe a trailer. And I was like, I know, as we've gotten closer and closer to the last Wednesday of the month, I've also been thinking, yeah, I don't see them dropping on a Wednesday for some reason. I don't know why. My gut says that. And I've heard nothing to follow up on that initial nudge a month ago where people were like, hey, end of January is kind of when we're looking at this. So I don't even know. Maybe it'll be
predicting Friday,
like next week, or there'll be a nudge. I would like it if it was a time when I was not at work.
That would be nice.
That would be really nice. And I would like just smidge of a like notice period would be helpful.
And then a few days after that, we will be doing the Watt Fantasy League draft, which is, you'll be there with your team. Thanks for committing to that earlier, by the way. I really appreciate it. That was really great.
You'll be there contributing to the balance.
Look, now I can't argue that I need to be washing my hair, okay? I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be stabbed by Leia if I don't say yes.
I think that's a strong possibility. You'll just you'll open your door one day. You'll be like sitting there at your house, like ding dong. You'll open your door and it'll be like her, and she'll be like, "The Black Tower sends their regards."
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have discovered Josh's talent, and this is for wearing people down until they'd be like, fine, I will be there.
You've lost a game of Maiden's Kiss, but I wasn't even playing.
I never lose a game of Maiden's Kiss. However, I have lost a game.
You lost
of,
when I was playing.
Josh's. No one loses Maiden's Kiss, really. Let's be honest here, people.
What about Stone Dog Kiss? How you doing?
Rob, final thoughts on Talents and Forsaken. What do you got? Put this in a nice, beautiful Christmas package for us with a nice, beautiful bow on it.
My final thoughts on Forsaken and Talents. I love I think from this discussion, the mystery of Talents that they have no idea they've got because of their chosen direction and the way the balance of the pattern was working, as Andrew brought up. I think those two things have really opened up like a lot of speculation and opportunity to just see what's out there. And I think it's such an open subject of Talents as a result that I think you could just have a lot of fun discussing it, especially with a TV show. But just keep talking about what people have got. And I didn't think about the hidden aspect of Asmodean's tree singing until I started saying that. And I was like, as I was saying, I was like, but what if he doesn't realize? And that's where I went with it. And I love that. And that happens every time I come on your show. We talk about things. I was like, damn, what if
I love that you get inspiration.
So
that's what we love. Like, that's how we come up with like half of our episodes. And we have like a revelation of thought. And then 2 episodes later, you're like, oh, that'd be really great to remember right now. What the hell was it?
This is why this happens to me in my podcast with Meg and Jen. We like literally when we've been reviewing the episodes, and then halfway through we suddenly get stuck on not like a tangent, but we get like something happened and we start talking about it, and we were like, what if it's this? And in our last one we got a random idea for how Nynaeve's accepted test was like a indicator of the future way that Aes Sedai become Aes Sedai, and how they're not restricted to a single Aja or color, and how that leads on to the future way Aes Sedai happen. Thank God for Meg, because Meg writes it down.
Nice.
Like Meg puts it in the show
notes.
You
gotta have one organized person. That's what our problem is. We need to go find an organized.
Josh, write that down. Write it down.
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Literally, like I can go to our document where we keep track of our episodes, and like Meg's added it in. And shout out to Amis, because Amis goes and updates the equivalent file for Three Full Talk as well. So it doesn't have all the aspect talking points, but it gives like a nice overview. So
Post-it notes.
Post-it notes.
Yep.
I'm not gonna pull out the very full, very blank.
You'd have like a wall of post-it notes, like it would be like the wall equivalents of a Gleeman's cloak.
It could just be like
a crossover cosplay.
It'd be just like Bruce Almighty when he was like prayer post-it notes.
Andrew, what about you? Wrapping it up.
Well, before I wrap it up, Rob, can you remind everybody where they can go and find all of your fantastic
that's
stuff?
A good point. We should do that.
The easiest way is to go search Malkier Talks. You can find me on most of the socials. You can find me on YouTube at Malkier Talks. You can find me the podcast. If you want to find that specifically, you'll find it at Malkier Talks. But if you search Three Wheeling, you'll specifically find that. And if you want the website, and if you want to come to the convention that I'd run in Prague every year, MalkierCon. We're in the midst of I should organize the first meeting actually, but we're in the midst of planning the 2024 events, which again will be in Prague. We now live in Prague, and you can find the details for that. Josh has
it's my updated one. It just got here today. I am renewed. I got the new fancy one too. It's all fancy.
Oh, this has got like the chip inside it. That's what they do, isn't it?
It's like there's this piece is like a card.
Yes, they do that in ours now as well. Although not in my current one.
I will submit my passport application stuff by end of February. Josh, hold me to it.
There we go. Chat holding to it as well. But yeah, you'll find details from MalkieriCon on there as well. We're going to have a great a great year. I'm working on a couple of fun guests, but even if we don't do that, we just have such an amazing time in Prague. It's so much fun. And yeah, oh god, that's such an old video now. But I did make Van's hot fish stew once when I used to do cooking videos like 3 years ago. Now it feels like I need to get back to doing those at some point. There in chat, hold me accountable. Post season 3, I will start doing cooking videos again. Not every week, but I will do some,
I do love
here
your
and there
cooking
type thing.
You know,
spread
if we're able to make it to MalkierCon 2025, there's a serious lack of Malkier's best cakes to celebrate many years of friendship.
Oh,
And
yes.
exceptionally boozy icing.
Oh my god, that boozy icing. that was so boozy. I'll have to. I don't know, like, because someone said, like, "Oh, is there going to be like a cooking class or something at Malkier?" I'm like, I can't take over the hotel kitchen, and because I
Not
stay
with
at the
that
hotel, I just
attitude.
don't have a not with that attitude. Someone
To
someone
take
needs to
over the
book an
kitchen, we
Airbnb,
brought
and
the
then I can come.
Americans.
There you
Okay.
go.
I heard there was oil in
There's
this.
oil in this
I'm
kitchen.
here.
Yeah, olive oil.
That still counts. This kitchen needs freedom.
Who gave him that American Eagle screech? Yeah. Well, I really do want to make it. Hopefully, I can make it. Hopefully, we can make it this year. So
I would love to see you both. It was great. We had new Americans come last year, hadn't come before. Alan Gus, the innkeeper, his wife, and his sister. Well, I think Terry's sister, so his sister-in-law, but whatever. And like Tom DeSimone and Aaron, they both came, and they're hoping to come. They're planning on coming again this year. Matt Hatch actually said it was he enjoyed it more than going to like the big conventions these days. Like it was because it was, there's like 75 of us. It was like, it was so much more fun and intimate for him rather than being overwhelmed by like, and he wasn't like knocking Jordan Con, but he's like, it's a very different experience to going to a place with like 800 or 1,000 people type thing. And, he loved that experience, that he'll try and come back whenever he can type thing. So
there's one thing we know about Matt Hatch.
It's still got some
he
charm.
loves his intimacy.
True.
He does have at least one child. So.
I hear he does. Yeah. I think we may have seen them somewhere. So, but yeah, like that's in Prague. That's the last weekend in August. We had to move it around. Prague gets wicked busy, folks. Wicked busy. I will need to book the 26th event before the end of summer this year to make sure we can have better choices of times and hotel options, because things just fill up so quick. So yeah. But yeah, that's all my stuff. Sorry, I went a bit
fill them up. You do, Rob, in an exceptional way.
We try.
It's awesome. Again, Rob's stuff is down in the show notes and description below. Go and check them out. If you're not already subscribed to everything Malkier Talks, make sure that you do, please. Rob is fantastic. He has been a very kind, very generous, and very good friend of ours for quite a while now. Probably one of the best ones we have. So thank you again for giving up some of your very early time to deal with us.
It's fine.
So hopefully it invigorates you
for
the work shift to come later today for you.
Yeah, I got to get back up in like about an hour and 45 minutes to go to
all right.
So we'll make this next part pretty quick.
I did sleep prior to this, so I haven't.
Make this next part pretty quick because we did plenty of plugs earlier. Hopefully you stuck around to hear this. We got some new patron members. Welcoming to the family, we got Rebecca from North Harbor Podcast. For those of you that have been hanging around in the patron chat, we got Waffles.
Waffles.
Welcome, Waffles, a new soldier for us. And another soldier, we got Birdie. So thank you all for joining and supporting what we do here at Black Tower Podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you can't see the Discord channels and you are in the Discord, there is a little thing at the top where you can open a ticket and it will automatically tag Josh and myself. We can figure out what's going on. Or you can message us on Patreon, send us an email, blacktowerpod@gmail.com, or message us on Discord, whatever the case is. We'll make sure you get access to all the channels. everything that comes into Black Tower Podcast goes right back into Black Tower Podcast.
True.
For us to be able to do fun and exciting stuff, like the last Gathering Madness that we did down in Charleston. It was a lot of fun. And to pay the exorbitant fees we have to pay to do nothing. Thankfully. So,
Yeah.
But again, thank you all. Welcome to the Black Tower Podcast family. Thank you all for your support and your trust with your hard-earned dinero. It is not go lightly on us. We do not think lightly of it. There we go. That's a good phrase.
There it is.
But
As they say in Threefold Talk, ramen rattle for that.
There it is. There it is.
I like it. But again, cannot say thank you enough to Rob, not just for coming out here, but for all the stuff you do for the Wheel of Time community. You're an old head for the community now, man. You've been around forever. So congratulations on elder status.
we grant you
Elder
elder status.
It is my 40th in April.
Oh, nice.
So
You
I
are
suppose
not 40. Shut the hell
it's-
up.
Not yet.
I turned 40 in
No,
April.
he's
It's my
39.
40th in
No.
April. Yeah. Like the Thursday of Jordan Con is my 40th birthday.
Wait,
Wow, really?
Rob, wait till he finds out I
Yeah,
turned
really.
44 in March.
Well, you don't look a day over 26, so
Wow.
it's the beard.
It hides-
It hides
This,
the
yeah, if I
youthful
shave this, I'll
Hides
look
the
like I
youthful
don't look like a day over 12.
job. There we go. See?
Thanks everybody for being
I
here.
feel like I shouldn't say what I turned this year. So moving on. Thank you all so much.
Andrew turned 16 this year,
Right.
everybody.
Hey, I might be turning 32, but my back is definitely turning 86. So, but thank you all of you fantastic, lovely patrons that have been able to tune in and listen live. And that also, again, they continue to support us. Thank you, Rob, again, for all of your time. Thank you all for tuning in. Share this with your friends. If you haven't subscribed already, please do hit that notification bell and join the Discord so you know when these episodes go live. Let us know what you think in the comments below. What did we miss? What did we not go over? What do you think? What are some of the talents that Forsaken have? Are we wrong about the balance? Do you even care? Let us know in the comments down below. From all of us here at Black Tower Podcasts, thank you again so much. Have a fantastic night, and we will see you again next week where we'll be talking about
You've been waiting for this moment, for this feeling to grow. In the shadows, always watching, always running the show.